Good morning, children. Today let us discuss about cell membrane. Cell membrane is a thin, elastic, semi and selectively permeable membrane. It separates the cellular contents, inner environment of the cell from the external medium. So it is acting as a wall protecting the cell. So it is the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, also known as plasma lemma. The term plasma lemma is given by a scientist known as Plough, and the term cell membrane is coined by Nageli and Kramer. If you see the thickness of this cell membrane, it is 75 angstrom. So the thickness of the plasma membrane is 75 angstrom. Till the discovery of electron microscope in 1950s, we don't know the composition of this plasma membrane. With the discovery of electron microscope, we came to know the composition of the plasma membrane, and especially we have studied about the composition of plasma membrane of RBC. So the composition of RBC membrane reveals that this plasma membrane is made up of 52% of proteins. This has to be remembered. 52% of proteins. So in this plasma membrane, 52% is occupied by proteins, 40% is occupied by lipids, and 3 to 5% by carbohydrates. So the major constituents of this plasma membrane, composition of plasma membrane is proteins, lipids and carbohydrates. Proteins 52%, lipids 40%, carbohydrate 2 to 5%. Now let us learn one by one. Lipids, let us see the first one, which is a lipid, phospholipid. The lipids are bounded to another molecule known as a phosphate group and forms a phospholipid. This phosphate group forms the head of this phospholipid, and phosphate PO4 2-, it is a charged particle. Whereas the tail is made up of glycerides, fatty acid molecules known as glycerides. Because the phosphate is bounded to the lipid, it is known as a phospholipid, and the lipid is nothing but glyceride, so we call it as a phosphoglyceride. If you see this one phospholipid molecule, the head is a phosphate polar head because it is a charged particle polar head, and this polar head loves water. So it is hydrophilic in nature. Philic is love towards water. So the polar head, which is formed by the phosphate group, is charged particle and it loves water. So we call it as hydrophilic. Whereas the tail, made up of fatty acids, glycerides, it is non-polar. It does not show any polarity. Moreover, it hates water. So we call it as hydrophobic. Head is hydrophilic. Tail is hydrophobic. Because the same molecule is showing polarity on one end and non-polarity on the other side, we call such molecules as amphipathic molecules. Amphi means both. So it is showing both polar end and non-polar end. So we call it as amphipathic molecule. This is about phospholipid. Now, when you observe carefully in the cell, inside the cell we have water and outside the cell we have water. But these tails do not like water. They are allergic to water. Then how these molecules are arranged to one another? These molecules, phospholipid molecules, they are arranged in two layers. See the two layers. They are arranged in two layers, so we call it as phospholipid bilayer. Bi is two layers, bilayers. And how are they arranged? To the external side, we have hydrophilic head. And to the internal side also, where there is water on both the sides, we have hydrophilic head. So, water loving particles, phosphate groups, they are faced towards water, and the tails which do not like water, they hid themselves, they protected themselves by turning to each other away from water. So in this way, the phospholipid molecules are arranged in the form of two layers, where the lipid molecules, they hid themselves from water, and the phosphate polar ends, hydrophilic ends, they faced the water both inside and outside. This is the arrangement of phospholipid layer. Now, this phospholipid bilayer, both the layers, they are held together by weak van der Waals forces. Otherwise, the upper layer will separate and lower layer will separate. But it is not happening. Both the layers, upper, we call it as a leaflet, upper leaflet and lower leaflet. Upper leaflet of phospholipid, lower leaflet of phospholipid. So both these layers, they are held together by weak van der Waals forces, so that they will not separate from each other. One more important feature of these phospholipid molecules is that they exhibit movement. So in a single phospholipid molecule can rotate around itself. That kind of movement is known as rotational movement. Can you see? All these are green colored, but to show you the rotational movement, one polar head is made into yellow. So, if the molecule is able to rotate around a central axis, we call it as rotational movement. And if the molecule is able to move sidewise, like you sit on a bench, the last one from that end will come to the middle one comes to that other end. In this way, sidewise it can move. If these molecules are moving sideways, we call it as lateral movement. On a single axis, we called it as rotational movement. If it is able to move sideways, one goes to second place, second one goes to third place, third one comes to first place. In that way, in the same layer, if they are able to move sideways, then we call it as lateral movement. But there are some molecules which exhibit flip-flop movement from upper leaflet to lower leaflet, from lower leaflet to upper leaflet of phospholipid bilayer. That movement is known as flip-flop movement. This is a rare occasion. Phospholipids exhibit flip-flop movement very rarely, but they do exhibit movements. They are not static. This ability of the movement of phospholipid bilayer molecules is known as fluidity. So, what is fluidity? The ability of phospholipid molecules to move around its own axis, to communicate with other cells, or within the same leaflet from one place to another place, known as lateral movement, or between the two leaflets as a flip-flop movement. This ability of the phospholipid molecules to move is known as fluidity. Because of this fluidity, we can express several things that happen inside the cell. Suppose the cell is growing. When the cell grows, more number of phospholipid molecules will be added. So they have to be inserted between these existing phospholipids. So because these phospholipid molecules are able to move, the new phospholipid molecules can insert themselves in between these phospholipid molecules. So this fluidity is enabling the cell to grow. Suppose the next example, let us take one more example, like in amoeba. It engulfs the food material by phagocytosis. So who is helping to engulf this food material? The plasma membrane, outermost membrane. So this outermost membrane, it forms a pseudopodia around the food vacuole and pinches off from the main cell membrane into the cytoplasm. So once again, these phospholipid molecules has to stick to themselves from this end to that end. This is one more example. Endocytosis, that is a phagocytosis. During cell division, the cell has to divide. When the cell is divided, that corner and this corner has to fuse. So all these growth, secretion of hormones, secretion of enzymes, endocytosis, cell division, intercellular junctions. Yesterday we have seen about plasmodesmata. So this is a junction between the two cells. So in the intercellular junctions, we can see the role of this fluidity, the movement of these phospholipid molecules. If they are not fixed like a static, the plasma membrane cannot fuse with the other end. One end cannot fuse with the other end. This is the importance of fluidity. So fluidity is enabling the organism to grow in size, then formation of intercellular junctions, secretion of enzymes and hormones, endocytosis and exocytosis, and also cell division. Hope you are following, children. So till now we have discussed only about phospholipid bilayer. Each phospholipid molecule contains a phosphate head, a polar head, hydrophilic head, and a tail which is non-polar, made up of fatty acid chains. These phospholipid molecules, they are arranged in bilayer, 2 layers, such that the heads form the outer surface and the inner surface. Both outer surface and inner surface are occupied by the heads, and the lipid molecules, they protected themselves from water being in between. So the lipid is forming the core of the plasma membrane. It is present in the middle of the plasma membrane. So it is forming the core. In this way, they arranged themselves in 2 layers. These phospholipid molecules, the upper leaflet and lower leaflet, are joined, bounded by weak van der Waals forces. These phospholipid molecules are not static. They can exhibit movements. If the molecule is moving around itself on the central axis, we called it as rotational movement. If it is moving sideways, then we called it as a lateral movement. And if it is moving from one leaflet to other leaflet, we called it as flip-flop movement. And this ability of these phospholipid molecules to move is known as fluidity. This fluidity helps in cell growth, cell junctions, endocytosis, exocytosis, and then formation of intercellular junctions and during cell division. Now, because the upper surface is hydrophilic, in the middle it is hydrophobic, small particles can cross through the plasma membrane. whereas bigger particles cannot cross. The head is polar, so up to there it allows polar ions, whereas the tail is non-polar, it does not allow any polar ion to pass through it. So how the substances pass through the cell membrane? For the passage of substances, we have some proteins arranged in the cell membrane. First one is phospholipid, and the constitution of phospholipid is 40%. Now let us see what are proteins. Proteins are occupying 52%. Now let us see proteins. The blue colored ones, bigger ones, are known as the proteins. Basing on the ease of these extraction of the proteins, we classified these proteins into two types. How easily you can pluck this protein molecule. If it is bounded to the phospholipid layer to the periphery, we called it as peripheral proteins. So see to your left hand side, lower end, there is a peripheral protein. These proteins, if they are attached to the surface, we call it as a peripheral protein. They can be knocked out, they can be taken away very easily. But there are some proteins which are present inside among the phospholipid bilayer. They are integrated along with the cell membrane. We cannot pick them so easily. If we want to separate this protein which is present inside, we have to disrupt the cell membrane. Such proteins are known as integral proteins. See, among the phospholipid bilayer, long column-like proteins are present which are known as integral proteins. These integral proteins, they can be completely embedded in the phospholipid bilayer or partially embedded. So we have seen peripheral proteins which are towards the periphery and integral proteins which are present integrated with the phospholipid bilayer. Integral proteins once again can be partial or complete proteins. These are the proteins occupying 52% of the composition. How are these proteins helping? See, here you can see one more peripheral protein on the lower side, and in the middle another big protein is known as integral protein is present. Then what is the use of these proteins? These proteins are helping for the transportation of substances from intracellular to extracellular and from extracellular space to intracellular space. So they are helping for the transportation of substances. Very easily, some molecules can diffuse through the membrane by a process known as a diffusion. Some molecules can diffuse without the spending of energy. That kind of transport is known as a passive transport. But some molecules, against the concentration gradient, they have to be transported. So these proteins play an important role to transport the substances against the concentration gradient, and sometimes they also help in the passage of substances by simple passive process. So this transportation we shall take in the next class, children. So till now we have covered phospholipid bilayer and the proteins, peripheral proteins and integral proteins. We have seen the fluidity. Transportation we'll do in the next class. Children, write the running notes or read the textbook. And whatever the portion is covered on that day, on the same day you complete your reading material also, reading part also. Thank you, children.